All right, so we're going to take a look at question 8 from 3.2 homework. So we're going to look at the magnitudes of 120 earthquakes. We're going to find the range, the standard deviation, and the variance. Then we're going to add one value of 7.50 to the data set, and we're going to take a look to see if those measures of variation change much by adding one value. And that one value, is you'll be able to tell by looking at the data set, would be an outlier. And if you know anything about earthquakes, you know that 7.50 on the Richter scale with an earthquake is a very serious earthquake. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to click here, and then we're going to export the data into StatCrunch. Now, we have our data set right here. I'm going to change the name. It's always good practice to give column headings names that actually make sense. Then I'm going to go to Stat, then Summary Stats, and then I'm going to go to columns because our data is in a column. All right. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select range, standard deviation, and variance in that order. So range, then standard deviation. I'm going to hold down the control button, and then variance. Now I have the descriptive statistics that I want to take a look at. I'm going to hit compute. All right, so next thing I did is I just made a little table right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but I just made a little table. I'm going to put my values in two different columns for comparative purposes. All right, so our range for the first data set is 3.54. Our range for the second data set is 0.654. 0.654. And that's our standard deviation. And our variance is 0.428, rounded to 3 decimal places. Now, all I have to do to add this value of 7.50, you can just roll to the end and put it in the 121st row, or you can click here, right click there, click insert one above, and that will put a new row here. And then you can just type 7.50, and then in order to find the summary statistics for this data set, all we have to do is go to refresh. And now you'll see we have the adjusted range, standard deviation, and variance from adding the value 7.50. The new range is 6.36. The new standard deviation is 0.793. And the new variance is 0.629. 0.629. All right, so we go back to the problem. And since we created a table, we don't have to keep going back and forth to StatCrunch to answer the questions. We can just look at our table. So in the first data set, the range is 3.54. The standard deviation is 0.654. And remember, the variance is just the standard deviation squared. This is 0.428. And then now, with the additional value of 7.50, our new range is 6.36. Our new standard deviation is 0.793. I'm just reading these off of the table, so I don't have to keep bouncing back and forth between the homework and StatCrunch. And the new variance is 0.629. Now, notice that these values are all within 5 percentage points of one another, right? 5 percentage points is 0.05. So like 3.54 and the range here is 6.36. These are more than 5 percentage points apart. These two are more than 5 percentage points apart. And these two are more than 5 percentage points apart. So the ranges are more than 5 percentage points apart. the variances are more, and the standard deviations are more. So all of them change significantly. And really, the point of that exercise is to illustrate that one outlier can have a drastic effect on a data set, even a data set as large as 120 values. And that concludes this lesson.